Here's what Trump had to say about new tariffs on Mexico. He says it will be in response to migrants entering the U.S. from the southern border. Take a listen.
If they don't stop this onslaught of criminals and drugs coming into our country, I'm going to immediately impose a 25% tariff on everything they send in to the United States of America. And the reason I delayed that, you're the first ones I've told it to. Congratulations, North Carolina. And it's only got a 100% chance of working, because if that doesn't work, I'll make it 50. And if that doesn't work, I'll make it 75 for the tough guys. And I'll make it 100. Then I'll make it 100.
And former President Donald Trump saying he will impose tariffs on Mexico if they don't do something about the migrants illegally crossing the southern border there. National political reporter David Weigel joins us now with more. We've heard Trump say he wants to impose tariffs on countries like China. Now he wants to impose tariffs on Mexico. How does this play into his overall message to voters on Election Eve, David?
In two ways. One, Trump has not said how he would pay for everything he's proposing in a deficit neutral way. He hasn't really even pretended. So when he talks about tariffs, that's sort of what he's saying. Don't worry, a lot of your costs at the pump, at the grocery store are going to go down. I'm going to do tariffs. That'll explain it. And this feeds into something Democrats have argued. One, that the tariffs constitute what they call a Trump tax. Two, that the way to ensure economic stability, confidence, predictability is to vote for Harris. And one thing you've seen, with a couple exceptions, it was in the Seltzer poll, it was less than some national polling I've seen, is as the election's gotten closer, Harris's disadvantage on the economy has narrowed in the key states. So is this a helpful thing for Trump to be talking about? In some ways it is. It also is what Democrats would love to have him talk about.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris, a Democrat, gearing up to hit the battleground state of Pennsylvania today. Over the weekend, she appealed to those undecided voters. Let's take a listen to what her message was.
I would ask, in particular, people who have not yet voted, to not fall for his tactic, which I think includes suggesting to people that if they vote, their vote won't matter. Suggesting to people that somehow the integrity of our voting system is not intact so that they don't vote. And again, I think that it is a tactic. It is meant to distract from the fact that we have and support free and fair elections in our country. We did in 2020. He lost. And the systems that are in place for this election in 2024 have integrity.
It's interesting to watch the vice president already gaining some ground among those late-breaking undecided voters, David. She's hitting Pennsylvania today, where a large share of those undecided voters remain up for grabs. What pushes those voters to choose one candidate over the other, do you think?
Well, some of that is the stability I was talking about before. They're arguing that if you are frustrated with the last 4 years, so is she. If you want some plans to make costs go down, she has them, and Trump doesn't have them. And the other part of it, which is harder to pinpoint because Trump says a lot of things that might be alienating or harmful to another candidate, but not to him, is to say, getting Trump, you're signing up for 4 years of RFK Jr. managing which vaccines your kid's allowed to take. You're signing up for 4 years of J.D. Vance. You're signing up for 4 years of Trump saying erratic things that might be offensive to you. And the Trump campaign has had a framework for that. It said, yes, the media freaks out about Trump. He'll send some mean tweets, but you're going to have a better lifestyle. The Democratic counterargument is, well, not clear at all that Trump is going to bring things back to the way you want them. But you are going to get the erratic nature of Trump. You are going to get him insulting people, him obsessing over crowd sizes, all those sorts of things. Those are immutable, and his policies are not. That's how the way they spin this.
Now, we've heard the two give a handful of speeches over the weekend. We're hearing from Trump today. How much of a contrast are we seeing between these two candidates before voters hit the polls, do you think? I mean, Trump made news today with the tariffs proposal.
Well, that's a big contrast, is that Harris is not rolling out new ideas in the final days of the campaign. Trump did this in 2020 and a little bit in 2016, too. At this point in 2020, he was pardoning people celebrities he thought might be helpful to him. He was proposing $1 trillion investment in Black America. This is how Trump often closes. It's the way that some campaigns might feel hamstrung and not close that way because they want to say things they can run on. That's the Harris plan. It is that she introduced 2 months ago anti-price gouging policies, pro-housing policies, and she's going to keep talking about them. The extent she has something new in her speeches, it's usually a small reference to Trump. So it is, here is one Democratic campaign that's going to tax the wealth and redistribute money to you. Here's a Republican campaign which is going to redistribute things to his friends. And that's, when they talk about what Trump is saying, that's what they talk about most frequently is who is he talking to? Who is he promising things to? It's to very wealthy people who have no interest in your life. That's some of what Harris is saying. It's also in a lot of their closing ads that emphasize, look at Elon Musk supporting Trump. Why do you think he's doing that? You think it's because he's interested in your welfare? He's interested in government contracts and a tax cut.
David, I know you're very, very busy today and we'll be through tomorrow. Thanks so much for taking the time with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.